Hi, my name is Emma, and 6 months after I retired from a 30-year teaching career in Boulder, Colorado, I thought I had finally earned a quiet, peaceful life. No alarm clocks, no parent-teacher meetings, just long walks. Books I never had time to finish. And Tuesday evening, salsa dancing with a group of sassy, silver-haired ladies who called ourselves the Dusty Diamonds. Life was good. Not glamorous. Not grand, but peaceful. After losing my husband to cancer 5 years earlier, I had worked hard to rebuild myself. The grief never fully disappeared, but I had made peace with it. I had learned how to laugh again, how to be alone without being lonely. I thought the rest of my years would be filled with wildflowers, coffee dates, and maybe a few painting classes at the senior center. Simple joys, gentle days. But then came the phone call. It was my son, Andrew. His wife, Jessica, was pregnant with twins. They were both overwhelmed, exhausted, and desperate for help, just until the babies are a little older. "Mom," Andrew had said, "you'll only be here for a few months." How could I say no? I packed my things, hugged my friends goodbye, and left my little house in Boulder, the one with the lilac bush he had planted for me, our first spring there. I sold it quickly. The market was good, and I was all in. I cooked, cleaned, folded endless piles of laundry. At night, I'd rock them to sleep while everyone else went to bed. I didn't complain. Not once. Because in my heart, I believed if I gave enough, if I worked hard enough, if I just kept loving them with everything I had, maybe I wouldn't feel so alone again. But I had no idea what was coming next. And that's where everything changed. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into months, and the months into 7 long years. What started as just a few months stretched into nearly a decade of me being everything to everyone but nothing to myself. In our small house in Chula Vista, I became the invisible engine that kept everything running. Up at 5 a.m., prepping breakfast and packing school lunches. By 8 a.m., I'd already done 2 loads of laundry. I knew every brand of baby formula, every kind of stain remover, and every bedtime story by heart. My hands knew the curve of the mop handle better than they remembered the feel of a paintbrush. I had given up my privacy, my home, my savings, my life, and no one seemed to notice. Jessica stopped saying thank you after the first year. She started correcting me in front of the kids. She'd sigh heavily when I folded the towels the wrong way. Andrew, my own son, was always at work or on his phone. When I tried to talk to him, his answers were short, distracted. "Mom? Not now." That was his anthem. One day, I asked if I could use my own pension check to buy a plane ticket to visit my best friend in Colorado. Jessica looked at me like I'd asked for her kidney. "We need that for groceries." She snapped. He blinked. "We need that." My pension had quietly become community property. They held the card. They used it. I never saw it again. At night, I'd sit in the garage, the only place I had to myself, with a mug of lukewarm tea and tears I didn't want anyone to see. I'd whisper to myself, "Emma, this is temporary. They love you. They're just stressed. It'll get better." But it didn't. In fact, it got worse. One afternoon, Jessica yelled at me, screamed. Really, because I had accidentally dropped a glass in the kitchen, Andrew stood there, watching, silent. He didn't defend me. He didn't even flinch. Just picked up his keys and left. And I realized then I didn't matter to them anymore. Maybe I never did. I had no friends in this city. No money of my own. No home to return to. My name was on nothing. I was a full-time, unpaid maid in a house I helped buy. For people who no longer saw me as anything but a burden. And that's when I began to disappear. Not physically, but piece by piece. Until one day, something unexpected happened. And that changed everything. There's a kind of sadness that doesn't cry. It just lingers. It lingers when you pour cereal into tiny bowls for kids who barely glance at you. It lingers when no one asks how your day was, because your day, to them, doesn't seem to exist. And in that silence, I started doing something I never thought I would. I bought a lottery ticket. Just one at first. Then a few more over time. I never believed I'd win God. No. But standing in line at the corner gas station with my little pink ticket in hand, it gave me something, a sliver of hope, a tiny rebellion, a dream that maybe, just maybe one day, things could change. Then, one Tuesday morning, while sorting through a stack of mail and receipts in the kitchen, I saw it. My numbers matched, all of them. I checked 3 times. Then 5. My hands were trembling. My heart felt like it had forgotten how to beat. 8 million. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, to dance, to cry. Instead, I sat on the cold tile floor in complete silence. My first thought, Andrew, will be so happy. I'll cook a special dinner. I'll surprise them all. I grabbed my purse, rushed out the door, and headed to the grocery store visions of celebration swirling in my head. Filet mignon, fresh herbs, a bottle of wine. For once, we'd have a meal not centered around coupons and clearance meat. But as I walked back toward the house arms full of shopping bags, I missed a step. It happened so fast. A sharp twist, a scream caught in my throat. Then, blackness. When I woke up, everything was a blur. Beeping machines, a dull ache in my head, the scent of antiseptic. A nurse whispered something about a concussion, possible short-term memory loss. I heard someone say, and then I saw him, Andrew, sitting beside the bed, his face tight, not with worry, but something else. You live alone, and you took a nasty fall. We've been helping the community arrange a safe place for you to recover. Ma'am, after all I'd done, all I'd given, I was now just ma'am. They explained that I'd be transferred to a senior care facility, Willow Creek Assisted Living, later that day. A car was already on the way. It's a great place. Jessica could. 3 meals a day. Round-the-clock care. Bingo nights. Bingo nights? I almost laughed. As soon as they left the room, I called over the nurse and asked for immediate discharge. She hesitated, understandably, but I assured her I was fine. Alert. And capable of signing myself out. She handed me the paperwork. I signed. Within an hour, I was standing on the curb outside the hospital in the early evening light. A cab pulling up beside me. No suitcase. No plan. Just my purse. My ID. And a mind sharper than they ever gave me credit for. Where to, the driver asked. I looked out at the San Diego skyline. The sun was beginning to set, casting gold across the buildings. Someplace nice. I said, someplace they'll never think to look. I ended up at the Sea Breeze Grand, a Kiat luxury hotel near La Jolla Shores. Ocean view. White sheets. Peace. I used my old debit card, still untouched by Andrew and Jessica, and paid for a week in advance. That night, I sat in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, the city lights twinkling below. I sipped hotel tea and let silence wrap around me like a blanket. They thought they'd erased me. I thought I was broken. But I wasn't broken. I was wide awake. And I had $4, 8 million coming my way. I wasn't sure what came next. But I knew one thing for certain: they would never control my life again. Not my money. Not my body. Not my future. The next morning, I walked to a small law firm just off Prospect Street. I asked to speak with an attorney. It was time to fight back quietly, smartly, and with everything I had left. The hotel room was quiet, but my thoughts were anything but. By day 3, I'd started to breathe again. Really breathe. No alarms. No footsteps above my head. No crying babies or passive-aggressive slams of the cabinet door. Just me, the ocean breeze, and the sound of waves brushing the shore. I was free, but freedom felt lonely. One afternoon, as I stepped into the lobby to get tea, I saw someone I vaguely recognized. Tyler, the front desk clerk, late 20s, maybe early 30s. Always polite, always smiling. He looked up, surprised. "Miss Mitchell, you're out of the hospital already." I blinked. "How did you?" He chuckled. "I was the one who called 911 when you fell. I saw you coming back from the store, and then, well, you went down hard." I stared at him. Tula had called for help. Not Andrew. Not Jessica. A stranger? "You saved me," I said quietly. He shrugged. "I just did what anyone would do." We talked for a while. The next morning, I went down to the lobby with a small envelope, 2 gift bags, and a bouquet of grocery store flowers. Tyler's eyes widened as I handed them over. "What's all this? Just a thank you?" I said. Inside the envelope was $2. Oh, 0, in cash." He stammered. Tried to refuse, but I held up a hand. "Don't argue. Use it for rent, or a mattress, or something warm." That night, he and Melissa came up to my room to thank me in person. We ended up talking for hours. She was sweet, grounded, and sincere, reminded me of myself when I first married, before life changed me. As they left, Melissa turned and asked, "Are you okay living here alone?" I smiled. Not for long, because I had a plan, and it involved more than just escaping. It meant building something new with people who actually saw me. The very next day, I asked Melissa to come apartment hunting with me. At first, she looked confused. "Emma, are you thinking of moving out of the hotel already?" I laughed. "No. Sweetheart, I'm thinking of moving into my life." She hesitated. "Do you want me to help you find a senior living place?" I winked. "I'm not ready for shuffleboard just yet." Over the next 3 days, we visited condos, high-rises, even townhouses by the marina. Most were cramped or overpriced or lacked something essential soul. Then we stepped into a unit on the 27th floor of Bay Point Towers. Just a few blocks from the ocean, it had everything: 300 square feet, an open kitchen, Tall windows with breathtaking views of the bay, and a balcony where the light poured in like honey. This is it, I whispered. Melissa's eyes widened. Emma, it's beautiful. I nodded. And it's ours. She blinked. What I turned to her. Move in with me. You and Tyler. Just until you get on your feet. There's a second bedroom that's begging to be lived in. Melissa froze, unsure whether to laugh or cry. We couldn't possibly. I cut her off. No guilt. You're not Charity. You're family. And if you're uncomfortable, you can just handle a few chores around the place. Deal by that evening. Tyler was hauling their modest belongings from the hotel break room into the apartment. Watching them settle in, something in me softened. The apartment felt alive. There was laughter in the kitchen, the clatter of dishes, the hum of music coming from a Bluetooth speaker Tyler had rescued from a yard sale. Melissa cooked like she was raised on love and soup. Her chicken pot pie was better than any comfort food I'd had in years. And Tyler, though quiet, had a gentle humor that filled the gaps in the silence I used to dread. For the first time in what felt like forever, I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't being judged or dismissed. I was simply Emma. One night, as we watched the city lights sparkle through the windows, Melissa looked at me and said, "You've given us so much. How can we ever repay you?" I smiled. Taking a sip of tea, "You already have." You reminded me what it feels like to matter. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of pancakes and laughter. And for the first time in years, I felt something I thought I had lost home. Peace has a strange way of revealing the truth. A few weeks into our new living arrangement, Melissa landed a full-time job as a patient coordinator at a local care facility, Pacific Shores Assisted Living. She came home every evening with stories, some funny, some heartbreaking, but always full of purpose. Her eyes sparkled again. "I think I found where I belong," she told me one night as we folded laundry together. "You and me both." I smiled. One Thursday, she came home looking a little shaken. "Emma," she said slowly, "something odd happened at work today." She explained that her director, Dr. Lillian Monroe, had mentioned a recent inquiry from a man named Andrew Mitchell, my son. According to Dr. Fina's daughter, Monroe, he had prepaid for a 3-month stay in their memory care wing under my name. He insisted on the cheapest room. Melissa said, brows furrowed. It didn't feel like concern. It felt calculated. I sat still for a moment, then reached into my drawer and pulled out the lottery receipt. I placed it gently on the table between us. "Melissa," I said, "I never lost my memory. I let them believe I did. I needed to know what they were capable of. Now I know." Her eyes widened. "I need your help." I continued, "Dr. Monroe is a good woman. She deserves to know the truth. And I need her statement. Something written. Something that proves what they did was intentional." Melissa nodded slowly, the weight of the moment settling in. "I can talk to her. I think she'd want to help you." Over the next few days, she did just that. Dr. Monroe was shocked when she heard the full story, but didn't hesitate. She wrote a clear, professional statement confirming that Andrew had called, arranged payment, and requested the least expensive care plan without once visiting or checking on my well-being. With that letter in hand, I felt power return to me, not vengeance, but clarity. I called my attorney, Rebecca Carter, and we began assembling the rest of the case bank transfers. voice recordings from hospital staff, even my own medical report confirming full mental capacity after the fall. And then I did one more thing. I changed my phone number. No more guilt-laced voicemails. No more fake concern. No more manipulation. The next letter Andrew and Jessica would receive from me wouldn't be a birthday card or a family photo. It would be from a law firm. Because this time, I wasn't asking for love. I was demanding justice. The envelope was thick, heavy with truth. My name embossed across the front in bold lettering, Emma L. Mitchell, plaintiff. Inside were copies of everything, Dr. Monroe's statement, my financial records, proof of the property sale, and a formal legal demand. We were giving Andrew and Jessica 10 business days to return the full $280. Zero from the home I had sold, or face a civil lawsuit for elder financial abuse. I knew it would hit them like a hammer. And it did. 2 days later, Jessica left a voicemail pretending to cry. Emma, how could you do this? We're family. We took you in. We cared for you. You're just confused. I deleted it. Then came Andrew's call. Mom, let's talk this out. You're blowing things out of proportion. We were just trying to help you transition into a safe place. You were unstable. Unstable, I almost laughed. I answered once. Just once. Calm. Clear. Steady. You mean the safe place you picked without telling me, the one where you prepaid for 3 months and never planned to visit, that one? Andrew, he was silent. I may be old. I continued. But I'm not stupid. And I'm not yours to control. Not anymore. Then I hung up and blocked him. The formal mediation was held in a sleek office downtown. Overlooking the same skyline, I now admired every night from my balcony. I arrived with Rebecca by my side, dressed in my best navy blazer. Hair curled. Posture strong. Not frail. Not confused. Andrew and Jessica sat across the table with their attorney. Jessica looked tired. Andrew looked angry. Their lawyer began. We believe this is a misunderstanding rooted in generational tension. Emma entrusted her son to manage her affairs and now regrets the outcome. Rebecca slid the folder across the table. Please review Exhibit C. She said, her voice calm but firm. A sworn statement from the facility director confirming Andrew's intent to commit Emma without her consent. Jessica gasped. Andrew's face drained of color. And then, I reached into my purse and laid the winning Powerball ticket on the table. I never lost my memory. I said softly, but I wanted to see who'd show up for me when they thought I had nothing. Turns out, it wasn't either of you. For once, neither of them had anything to say. As I stood to leave, I turned back to them, not out of spite, but to make one thing clear. You made me invisible for years. I said, but I'm here now, and I see everything. The case made the local news, not because of the money, not even because of the Powerball ticket, but because of what it represented. A retired woman who had sacrificed everything for her family, only to be discarded and gaslit into silence, had finally spoken up. And the world was listening. The courtroom was packed on the first day of the trial. Elder abuse advocates filled the benches. Melissa sat behind me, her hand gently on my shoulder. Tu la stupicilla. Protective and proud, Rebecca Carter, my attorney, stood tall and unshaken like justice in heels. Andrew and Jessica looked different this time. Smaller, less certain, like two people who had built their world on a lie, only to watch the ground vanish beneath them. The judge was stern but fair. Rebecca methodically laid out the facts, my property sale and how the funds were funneled into Andrew's control. The pension card I was never allowed to access again. Dr. Monroe's signed statement confirming Andrew's intent to commit me. Despite no medical recommendation. And finally, my own medical report clearing me of any cognitive impairment after the fall. Then, Melissa took the stand. With calm grace, she described Andrew's arrangement with the care facility, how he specifically requested the cheapest option and never mentioned any intention to visit or reassess. The courtroom was silent. Andrew's attorney tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, poor communication. Stress. Confusion. But no one was buying it. When the judge finally delivered the verdict, the words felt like a balm over every wound they had ever left in me. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Emma L. Mitchell, full restitution of $280. Ling, additional damages for emotional distress, and immediate return of control over all financial accounts. I didn't cry. I didn't cheer. I simply exhaled. It was over. Outside the courthouse, a reporter asked me if I had anything to say to other seniors going through similar abuse. I looked into the camera and said, "You're never too old to take your power back. Kindness should never cost you your voice." That night, Melissa, Tyler, and I cooked dinner together in our warm, sunlit kitchen. No tension, no guilt, just laughter and clinking glasses. I wasn't just a survivor. I was whole again. And in reclaiming my dignity, I discovered something I thought I had lost forever. Myself. It's funny how peace feels louder than chaos once you finally let it in. These days, I wake up not to the sound of crying children or slammed doors, but to sunlight streaming through my bedroom window and the smell of fresh coffee Tyler's doing. Bless his heart. Melissa hums in the kitchen while flipping pancakes. They're expecting their first child in a few months. And yes, they asked me to help pick the baby's name. They even asked if I'd be called Grandma Emma. My heart nearly burst. The apartment isn't just a place to live, it's home. Our dinners are sacred. We eat together, laugh together, and talk about our days like it's the most important ritual in the world. Some nights we play cards. Others, we watch old movies. And every once in a while, Tyler will drag us to the balcony just to watch the city lights dance on the water. No one criticizes my cooking. No one makes me feel small. And no one ever forgets to say thank you. With part of the money from the settlement and my lottery winnings, I donated to 2 nonprofits, one supporting elder justice, and another helping women re-enter the workforce later in life. It felt right to take the pain of what happened and turn it into something hopeful for someone else. I also bought Tyler and Melissa a cozy 1-bedroom condo, just 2 floors below mine, though they still insist on spending most evenings at my place. We just feel better when we're near you. Melissa says with that same soft smile that reminds me what love really looks like. Sometimes, when I'm walking through the neighborhood or watering my balcony plants, a neighbor will stop and say, "You look radiant." "Emma, what's your secret?" I smile and say. I finally stopped shrinking to fit into someone else's idea of love. Last week, I started teaching a painting class at the community center. Seniors, teenagers, anyone who wanted to learn. We laugh a lot. We make a mess. And every now and then, someone says, "I thought I was too old to try this." And I say, "You're not too old for anything. You're just on time." The old version of me, the one who gave everything and expected nothing, is gone. Now, I live boldly, I love freely, and I rise every morning knowing I am no longer invisible. My name is Emma, and this is the life I was always meant to live.